What's going on, fight fans? Welcome back to the Ugly Truth Fight Picks podcast. Myself, Joseph Holmes, as always. We have another special guest. This time it's UFC middleweight Cody Brundage as we get ready for UFC Vegas 74 going down this Saturday from the Apex. Guys, thank you for the time. Cody, how are you?
I'm great, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, another great card. A lot of fights to get to, so we'll dive right in as always. Start right with the main event: Amir Albazi, Kai Kara France. And this is essentially a pick 'em, guys. Minus 110 on a couple of different betting sites that I'm looking at right now. Cody, let me start with you, man. Who do you see winning this one? Do you feel like Kai Kara France gets it done, or is this one going to Albazi?
Yeah, it's a close fight. I know Albazi has a lot of hype behind him. He's got a great record, but I just think the level of competition isn't really there. Kai Kara France has fought the best of the best. The only people he's lost to in the UFC are Brandon Moreno twice and Brandon Royval in a crazy fight, where he had his moments. And I think Kai gets it done. He's shown that he's able to beat the wrestling heavy approach against a guy like Askarov, who I think is probably a better wrestler than Albazi. So I just think Kai gets it done. He's more experienced, more battle tested, fought better guys. I like him in this spot for sure.
How you feeling, Joseph?
I'm 100% with him. I like Kai Kara France. He's freaking scrappy. He's game. I think he wins this time. But we can't really just count Amir out totally. I think he'll have some good moments, but I think Kai's gonna have the experience to pull this off for sure.
Yeah, I'm going Kai Kara France as well. I think it will be a tough fight. Albazi will have his moments, but I think the veteran gamesmanship of Kai Kara France is ultimately going to get it done here. I can't wait to see your teammate Brandon Royval back in there, hopefully for a title shot here real soon.
Oh yeah, most exciting flyweight, maybe one of the most exciting fighters on the roster for sure, but definitely most exciting flyweight.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing Raw Dog back in action. All right, the co-main event, another really exciting one right here. Alex Caceres, Daniel Pineda. And this one right here, Caceres is the favorite, minus 180. Pineda's the dog, plus 155. Joseph, let me go to you here first on this one. Featherweight bout, who do you got winning this one?
Man, Caceres has that experience, but Pineda's been in the game a while too. I guess Caceres has just been more popular for longer. But I've been seeing him staying active. He did a grappling thing. I haven't seen him in the cage doing too well lately, but man, isn't Pineda from Houston too? I think I might go with Pineda here just to represent my Texas guys. I think this is going to be a tough fight for Caceres, but I think he has a lot of experience. So, but I'm gonna go with Pineda.
Man, I'll tell you what, if Alex Caceres looks like anything he did when he beat Julian Erosa last time out, we're going to be in for an exciting fight here. Cody, what are your thoughts on this one? Do you feel like Caceres is the rightful favorite, or are you leaning towards Pineda?
I think Caceres should be the favorite. I don't know if he should be that big of a favorite. Pineda's a dog. He's always in exciting fights. Caceres is always in exciting fights. I think it's kind of who gets there first in this fight. Which is kind of how I felt like with the Caceres Julian Erosa fight as well. And Caceres was able to get there. I think that was kind of surprising though. Like if you'd asked me, I would have picked Julian probably. And I'm gonna pick against Caceres again and pick Erosa because pick Pineda because I just think that he has just as much experience, not as much UFC experience, but the dude's he fought really good people in PFL, beat really good people in PFL. Unfortunately, those aren't on his record. They're no contest because he popped hot, but he has great experience outside the UFC, really big wins outside the UFC, and big wins in the UFC. So I'm going to go with Pineda as the dog. I think it's worth your money for sure to go with him, and I think it's going to be a great fight, though. I think it might be fight of the night.
Okay, I like that. That's what we're looking for here. Some dog money. Who we can win some? Who can we win some money on? So I like that one right there. Daniel Pineda. Both you guys going with the underdog here in your co-main event. This next fight, I'm actually surprised that it's not the co-main event. Jim Miller, Jared Gordon, both of these guys, big name value here. A lightweight bout. Jared Gordon is your favorite, minus 180. Jim Miller is the dog, plus 155. Cody, let me start with you here on this one. I'm really intrigued about this one because both of these guys clearly they're well-rounded. They got a lot of heart. They got a lot of experience. I feel like this almost could be a pick 'em. What do you feel about this lightweight bout?
Yeah, I agree for sure. Jim Miller's kind of had like a career resurgence almost. He took that loss to Alex Hernandez, one of my teammates, but Alex is a stud on the come up, and I mean Jared's really talented. I think he's coming back pretty quick off of that Bobby Green headbutt knockout. He got KO'd pretty bad there, and I feel like Miller. Before I feel like everyone's like Miller's a great jiu-jitsu guy. He's got great submission skills, but he's kind of shown he's got pop in fights against like Nicholas Mota and some people like that. And I just think you need to give your brain a little bit more time. I'm gonna go Jim Miller. I think he gets the job done. I feel like this fight's kind of tailor made for him because Gordon loves to live in the pocket, and that's where Miller's comfortable too. So I just think the wrestling and the pop of Jim Miller is kind of surprising to the people he's fighting, and I think he'll catch Jared Gordon.
Joseph, Jim Miller is going to be 40 years old in just a couple of months. Do you
No
think
way.
he gets his 36th win of his professional career in this one?
I think this is a good fight for him. Cody mentioned that incident that he had, that Jared had with Bobby Green, could play a huge part, even outside of like if he's totally healed, he could be hesitant because of that. He could try and stay out of the pocket, which would go against how he usually fights. So I think that headbutt could play a bigger part in this fight than we might realize. And Jim Miller has way too much experience to be coming off of a scenario like that. So I got Jim Miller big time. I think Jim Miller has a really good showing this weekend.
Okay. I'm intrigued about this. Real quick before we move on to the next one, guys. What do you think it is that we're seeing athletes being able to compete at such a high level, into their 40s nowadays? It's not just in MMA. You're seeing it in other sports as well. What do you think it is? Is it recovery, nutrition?
I think it's probably a combination of both. I feel like it's not just MMA, right? We see that in like all kinds of sports. Like look at LeBron. He's what, 38, 39 years old. He's still top 10 in the league. They're just better resources for recovery, better knowledge about how to bounce back and have longevity. I feel like, like Chuck Liddell wasn't trying to have longevity in the sport, right? Like he was partying every weekend, pretty like well-known fact. So I feel like people just take a little bit more serious. I feel like there's better, like I said, resources out there, and people take advantage of them. And I feel like people are hitting their prime later. I feel like you see these guys in the UFC, you're not hitting your prime till you're 32, 33, 34. So just better resources equals better longevity for sure.
You feel the same way, Joseph?
Yeah, I do. Definitely like the resources have changed greatly, like as far as like the different type of recovery weight things we do have. But I think that the generation before ours was just built different, dude, too. Like, honestly, like, dude, like everybody's so soft now and like taking so much shit to heart. Like, like people will lose a fight and then just fucking like one fight and just go down a rabbit hole and just not even, think the same about themselves. And back then, like these guys lose a fight and they're like, fuck it, what's next? You know what I mean? Like,
for
so
sure.
I think as well as the resources, people were just built different. And hopefully we see that out of my generation. I'm 27. But I don't think we'll see much of that anymore going forward.
Well, one thing's for certain, we can all agree that we're looking forward to see Jim Miller fight again. He always brings it. The guy's never in a boring fight. So that right there is the third fight of the evening that we've discussed so far. Tim Elliott, Victor Altamirano is up next. Tim Elliott is the favorite, -175. Altamirano +150 as your dog. Cody, what do you feel about this fight? Is there one guy that you're leaning towards? Do you think the former tough winner gets it done?
If you would have asked me like 5 weeks ago who I think was going to win, I would be like, oh, Tim Elliott's going to crush him. Tim Elliott's the veteran. Tim Elliott's been in the bigger spots. But I really feel like if your home life and the things you have going on in your personal life aren't aligned, it's really hard to be successful. And I mean, I'm not trying to put his business out there. He kind of put his own business out there, but he has a lot of things going on right now that I think it's hard to fight through. It's hard to fight when you're dealing with all your personal issues at home. It's hard to focus on fighting another person, and Altamirano doesn't have any of those issues. And Altamirano has experience. Altamirano's fought good people. He's super awkward to fight. You know, this fight is going to be the most awkward fight of the year, I think, because Tim Elliott is maybe the most awkward style in the UFC, and Altamirano is equally as awkward. So it's going to be a super awkward fight. I don't know who I would pick. Like I said, I think Tim Elliott is better everywhere. I just think that he has so many issues going on in his personal life that it's hard to pick a guy that you don't know like what kind of headspace they're in. He might come out and have the best performance of his life, but on the other hand, you know, he could absolutely have the worst performance. So I kind of want to stay away from him, but I just in my head, I'm like, he's the better fighter. I think he should win on his worst performance, but it's hard to pick him. I'm gonna go Tim Elliott, but I would stay away from it.
Joseph, you know Tim Elliott, right? So
I know.
okay. Well, what are you thinking, man? How do you assess this one?
You know, I think Tim, regardless of what he has going on, that guy stays in the gym. And he's like, Tim has always just been like, phew, like, I don't know the word, just like locked in. Like, even when you're in the gym with him, that guy is like in his own space in the corner, like working combination, fucking shadow boxing, like just doing crazy stuff. And he's always been that way. Like, you just go through a hard training and he's in the corner at the end of training doing some shots back and forth with some rolls. It's crazy when you see him do it. But he did mention he has a lot going on, and I know with me personally, my personal life does affect my performance, unfortunately. So I can only speak in that regard. So if he is going through certain things like that, I hope he can get through it. I hope he wouldn't have accepted a fight if it was going to hinder him. So especially against Victor, because Victor's been looking great. Man, I think I'm going to go with Tim just because of the experience, just because, honestly, of how well he did against Mighty Mouse back in the day. And Mighty Mouse is like my favorite of all time. So I don't see Victor being anywhere as good as Mighty Mouse. So let's just, I imagine we're going to see that, Tim, this weekend.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, geez, man, I can't even begin to comprehend what it is that he's going through. I mean, clearly, Cody, you know, you must have seen it too, Joseph, right? I mean, it was all over Twitter.
I mean, you know.
Yeah. I mean, it's just such a bizarre situation and just awful thing to go through. But yeah, I won't bring it up, but it's like I have an interview later this week with one of his old teammates who was like Kevin Kroom's best friend. And I feel like obligated, like I have to ask about it, but it's like I don't want to because it's just so weird. And I don't know. But yeah.
I mean, if he's talking about it, then I think you have every right to in your position.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like, what are you going to say? Like, what if I ask somebody about it, a former teammate and friend, it's just like, I mean, what can you really say about it? It's just a really crappy situation, but it's going to be a good fight. Tim Elliott, Victor Altamirano. That's going to be a great one, man. We'll keep it moving here. Karine, Silva, Ketlen, Souza, and Souza's the dog here, plus 190. Karine, Silva is your favorite, minus 225. Joseph, let me start with you on this one, man. Do you have any thoughts? Do you feel like the Karine Silva, the big favorite, is going to get it done?
You know, I'm going to stick with the favorite. Honestly, I haven't seen either girl fight, but I had started looking them up before this, and Karine just looks like a freaking, like a dog, dude. And she's in great shape also. So I think I'm going to go with Karine as well. And she's the favorite. So, yeah, I would stay away from finding an underdog out of that fight.
Yeah, I'm feeling the same way. Are you going to make a 3 for 3 here on this one, Cody?
I'm trying to think. Is Karine's the vet, right? One's the debut.
So Karine Silva's 15-4. Ketlen Souza is 13-3. So their records are pretty comparable. When I
one's been in the UFC, I think. She's had pretty good success, I think, in the UFC. I think I feel like an idiot right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Silva. I feel like that UFC experience is huge. Especially when it's somebody who's got some wins and has some confidence against a debut guy or girl. So yeah, I'd go with Silva for sure.
And you are right. Souza is making her UFC debut. She's been fighting in Invicta, and Silva hasn't lost yet in the UFC. She had a good performance at Contender Series, and then a big win most recently over, let me just make sure I get this name right, Poliano Botello. I can't. Some of these names, goodness gracious! I'm telling you, John Anik better get paid handsomely for being able to pronounce all these names in the UFC correctly, because it is not easy. I'll keep
him
it.
And Bruce Buffer, right?
Yeah, exactly. My goodness. This next fight's an exciting one. Jamie Malarkey, Guram Kutsaladze, and Guram's a massive favorite, minus 325, even bigger than that on some sites. Malarkey's the dog, plus 250. Cody,
Guram's out now, though. Guram's out now.
When did that happen?
Like in the last 2 days. He's fighting they already found a replacement. And the only reason I know this is because it was the guy my boy Colin England fought on Contender Series. I'm trying to think of his name.
Oh, I'm seeing it now. Naimov.
Naimov, yeah.
Yeah, Naimov. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, geez. Let me see. I don't even see the odds for that yet. Well, it's
I'm sure Jamie will be a pretty big favorite if I had to guess.
Okay. Well, thank you for correcting me, Cody. Do you feel like Jamie Malarkey gets it done?
I do. I think Naimov is really talented. I just know from him fighting when he fought my boy, he was really, really talented. But he's a 45er. He's not a 55er. And he struggles with his gas tank. So taking a fight on short notice with an already suspect gas tank against somebody like Jamie Malarkey, who's an absolute dog, like can take a beating and come back and win. You know, that might be his best quality, is his durability and his ability to come back and be in your face and make it a dirty fight. I feel like it's just a really tough ask on a week's notice. So I'd go with Malarkey. He has a lot of experience against really good competition. And Naimov, like I said, it's just not his weight class. I think he'll have success in the UFC. I think he's a talented dude. I just don't think this is a favorable matchup for him.
Yeah, I think just looking at his record too, you're right. This is a tough ask to come in on short notice, up a weight class against a veteran like Malarkey. Joseph, you feeling the same way?
Yeah, I was gonna say I like Malarkey, and then I didn't recognize his other opponent, John guy. I didn't recognize, but you said it's such a huge favorite, so I was like, oh, but I like Malarkey, dude. I don't know Naimov's face right now, but I like Malarkey, and I would like him to do very well in this fight. And it sounds like it's based around him doing well, so I like that.
Oh, thank you, Cody, for being on it. I missed that one there, but yeah, obviously fight week, these things are bound to happen. We'll keep it moving. This next one's a pick 'em. Abubakar Nurmagomedov and Elizeu Zaleski, minus 110 for the both of them. Joseph, let me start with you here in this one, man. Do you feel like Nurmagomedov gets his hand raised, gets his 18th win, or do you feel like Zaleski gets the job done?
Zaleski's he's good, man, and he's fought some good guys as well. I don't know if Nurmagomedov has. I think that I'm going to stick with Zaleski. I don't know the odds on this either, but I like Zaleski. I've seen him fight a few times, and he's fought some good guys, and he has some hands. So, yeah, I'm going Elizeu.
Cody, what are you thinking?
I like Zaleski. I like his style. I think he's really talented. He's a good kickboxer. I just think that I'm not picking against Nurmagomedov if it's a wrestler versus kickboxer. But I like Zaleski. I mean, Zaleski's way more entertaining. I just think Nurmagomedov has the style to kind of dominate that fight and take him out of his element. He could get caught coming in. I just don't see it happening. You know, that was always like the big thing with like any Nurmagomedov, like they're gonna get caught trying to get a takedown, and it hasn't happened yet. So I'm gonna stick with the Nurmagomedov pick.
Yeah, I actually think that's the safe bet. I'm actually surprised at the odds that's a pick 'em right now. I mean, Nurmagomedov, he's 2-1 in the UFC so far. He's got a win over Jared Gordon, who's right up there at the top of the card. So I think Nurmagomedov, that wrestling, that's the safe way to go right there. John Castañeda is back at it. He's taking on Muin Gafurov. Castañeda is your favorite, minus 125. Gafurov is plus 105 as your underdog. Joseph, do you have a thought on this matchup right here?
I did, and then I was seeing the fight after this, and I'm like, holy. But I like Gafurov. I think he came from Contender around the time that I got him from Contender, and I remember seeing him fight. I like him. I think I'm gonna go with Gafurov. He fights, and then he has some great grappling as well. I don't know much about Castañeda, but I'm gonna go with Gafurov. Gafurov.
Cody, what do you think about?
I think Castañeda's a talented fighter, but I think Gafurov has like, was he 17-4 or something? He has like 16 finishes, 18-4. He has 17 finishes, I think. And he's never been finished. He's only ever lost by decision. I think he wins. I think he gets the job done. And I think it doesn't go the distance. I think it's a good spot for him to make his debut. It's a good matchup for him. Who do you fight on Contender? I know he lost on Contender, but it was like
Yeah, I could tell you. Give me 1 second. It was
he like gassed, I think, pretty hard in that fight.
Which guys or the person he fought is one of Iridium. I know him or the other guy's Iridium. That's how I got to see him.
Chad Engler.
Yeah, I remember that because no one was giving Chad Engler a chance to win that fight, and Chad Engler just kind of dogged him out. Like, he gassed him, got him tired. He took a little bit of a beating in the beginning, but he got him tired and then was able to win that fight. But I think that's kind of common on Contender. You see that more with guys, like, because you want to go out there, you have to perform, you have to get a finish, you have all these things in your head that you have to do. I think this gives him, a little bit more security. He's in the UFC now. No matter what, he'll probably get at least 2 fights, you'd think. So I think we see a better version of him. And like I said, I think he gets it done.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that. And I think too, with him being the underdog here, like you were saying, so many finishes on his record. I like this. I like the underdog. He also fought John Lineker in 2019. He lost via UD to John Lineker. So he's had some pretty high level competition in there as well.
Yeah, for sure. And like I said, he's never been finished. Seems to be a finisher, fought good competition, has a lot of experience. You don't see the UFC signing too many prospects with 20+ fights. So
right.
Excited to see him fight, actually.
Yeah, that'll be a fun one. Now, we know who both of these guys are, especially Andrei Arlovski. He's taking on Don'Tale Mayes. That's up next, the big boys. Arlovski right now is the dog, +110. Don'Tale Mayes is your favorite, -130. Joseph, since you were so excited about this one, man, let me start with you. Do you feel like the veteran Arlovski, the former champion, gets it done, or are you going with the favorite, Don'Tale Mayes?
I like this fight, man. I think it, like, out of all the fights with like in it, you get worried that they're going to be boring and the vet's not going to do nothing. And this ain't one of those. I think that Andrei's going to throw some heat because he's going to have Don'Tale. is crazy, but I think I'm gonna go with Andrei. I would like Andrei to come in here and get his hands up and swing some hammers out there.
And Cody, look at the volume of fights that each guy has had. Andrei Arlovski, 34-21. Don'Tale Mayes is only 9-5. Do you feel like that's going to play a factor in this fight?
Yeah, definitely. It's experience is something that's super underrated in the game, and it's super important. And yeah, I like Arlovski. He's super crafty. The dude finds a way to win. Even when we don't think he wins, he wins. So it's like it's hard to pick against the guy. I'm trying to think what fight. I definitely thought he lost the Collier fight. I think I was like, he definitely lost his fight. Got his hand raised. So he just finds a way to win, make it look close enough, I guess, to get the benefit of the doubt. And he was on like some crazy like win-loss streak, and I think he lost his last fight. So win incoming for Arlovski, I think. Just the experience, the craftiness. His chin seemed pretty durable for a guy who has 50+ fights. Like, I know he's been finished before, but it seemed pretty good in his last few fights, especially for a heavyweight. And like I said, he just finds a way to win. He finds a way to make it really close. I wouldn't be surprised if we see like a split decision, something like that, just because all his fights seem to be like, I don't know, it's a toss-up at the end of them. But I think he gets the job done.
Yeah. It's crazy. Talk about a guy that's defying the odds of time here. I mean, he's like almost 45 and he's still out there fighting. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, pretty impressive. Well, the former champion. If
Can't be me. I'm ready. I'll be done long before then.
Yeah. I'm trying to be done 35.
Yeah, I got to keep my brain for as long as possible.
Yeah.
The airplane.
Not many guys like Arlovski left in the sport, that's for sure. I actually spoke to one of the combatants of this next fight just recently, Johnny Munoz Jr. He's taking on Daniel Santos, and Munoz told me he thinks he's going to go in there and have his way and win this fight. He's the underdog here, though, plus 170. Daniel Santos is your favorite, minus 210. Cody, let me start with you here on this one. Do you feel like there's some dog money here on Johnny Munoz Jr., or do you feel like Daniel Santos, the Brazilian, is going to get his hand raised?
I definitely think there's dog money. But I think I would go like submission under 2.5, under 2, under 1.5, maybe. I think, if Johnny's gonna get it done, he's got to submit him early before they get slick. Santos is super talented. He's long, he's rangy, he's gonna come out hot, which I think kind of lends to somebody looking for a submission. To ending the fight early. He's got that Brazilian style where they're just going to come out and it's going to be heat from the first rip, right? So I think it's a tough fight for Johnny. I think Johnny's really talented. Like when he was in King of the Cage, I remember watching him. It was like a long time ago, and he was an absolute stud. So I think if he can kind of be that guy again, he has a really good chance. But it's a tough fight. I would probably take Santos over the distance, and maybe Johnny by sub under 1.5.
It sounds like you've been a man that maybe in the past, before you got in the UFC, you've placed a couple of bets here and there.
Here and there. Not since I've been in the UFC.
Perfect answer. Joseph, what are you thinking about this one, man?
Oh, that's funny. I got Daniel Santos. I like Johnny. I've seen a few of Johnny's fights, but Daniel, he's been looking good to me lately. I think I'm gonna go with Daniel for sure. With the kind of like he said, probably decision, if not like maybe like a late stoppage, maybe like a late stoppage, because I would imagine Johnny's gonna keep looking for that takedown, maybe too late in the round, and maybe start lunging for him. So yeah, I got Santos winning this with a late stoppage or a decision.
All right. Well, that'll be an exciting bantamweight bout. Keep it moving here. Elise Reed, Jinh Frey is up next. Elise Reed minus 130 as your favorite. Frey's the dog plus 110. I got to tell you guys, I spoke to Elise Reed just a couple of days ago, and her confidence is through the roof. She feels like there's nowhere that Jinh Frey is going to be able to do anything to her in this fight. She says she learned from her most recent loss to Loma Lookboonmee, and we're going to see the best version of her here in this one. She thinks she's going to get a stoppage. Do you agree with that? Cody, let me start with you. Do you feel like Elise Reed going to get a big bounce back win here?
I mean, I definitely think she can. I feel like Jinh is definitely I remember her when she was on the Invictus scene. She was the champ, 105 champ. She had a lot of hype kind of coming behind her when she got signed to the UFC, and just was really kind of underperformed, I think. She has good jiu-jitsu. She has good striking. She just hasn't really been able to put it together. She's had some close fights. Her and Vanessa Demopoulos had a really close fight. I think it's going to be tough to maybe get her out of there. Just from what I've seen from Elise. I know she's confident, but Elise is the younger girl. She has all the confidence, even though she took that loss to Loma. But I think Loma's really talented too. I think that's a tough fight, and that girl gets a lot better every fight as well. It's going to be a close fight. What are the odds on it? I'm sure it's close.
Right now, Elise Reed minus 130, Frey plus 110.
Yeah, that's not surprising to me. I think Reed will get it done. Like I said, I just have not even that I haven't been impressed. I just feel like Jinh Frey's had a really hard time putting it together once she got signed to the UFC. Because before the UFC, like I said, she was a big prospect. A lot of people were expecting big things out of her. I think Reed can get it done. I don't think she'll finish her, but I think she'll get it done, get the win.
What do you think of that analysis from Mr. Brundage, Joseph? Do you think Elise gets her hand raised?
I agree with him because Jinh has had a very hard time putting things together. But I like her, man. I like her. I like her husband. I like what they do. And
I mean, I like them. I like them. I like them too. Like they came to my old gym when I was in Michigan and trained out there. Her and my wife know each other pretty well. So as a fan, I would definitely root for Jinh, but just I think she just had a hard time. She's getting older. Typically, you don't get better as you get older, but as a fan, I'm rooting for her. I like her. Big fan of her.
But I think that she doesn't necessarily need to get better, Jinh. I think she just needs to, like he said, put it together. And I think that what I've seen from Douglas's gym here lately, he's very, which is her husband. I don't know if that's, public knowledge or not, but he's been really like putting things together and like showing that they are doing that, striking and grappling. Grappling didn't work, punch off, so I just would love to see Jinh put all that together right now. This could be one of her last shots, but at least it's dangerous, and she's been more active. At least it's been more active. So yeah, I think I would safely go with the favorite here, but there could be some underdog money. There could be there.
I just like the fact that both of you guys are being so objective here and looking at it, from honestly who you think is going to win. You both, know Jinh Yufrey personally, and you're cheering for her, but you feel like Elise Reed, probably at this stage of their career is the better fighter. So I just love the objectivity there, fellas. This next one is a fight that I have circled because I've known Da'Mon Blackshear for a really long time. He won the title at my home promotion, New England Fights. And he's a dog here, plus 117, plus 123, depending on the site you want to bet on. Luan Lacerda is the favorite, minus 145. And Damon's had it kind of tough since he's made it into the UFC. He had a draw with Yusuf Zalal, someone that you know really well, Cody. And then he fought Farid Basharat to a unanimous decision, lost, but he had some moments in there and looked pretty good. And he's a tough fighter. Cody, let me just start with you, man. I'm sure you got to see Da'Mon a little bit, obviously when he fought Yusuf. What do you feel like we're going to see out of him? Do you feel like, there's a chance he's going to get that elusive first win of his career?
Yeah, they're definitely not doing him any favors. It's another really tough fight. But he's a tough dude. He has a lot of experience. He's fought good people. He fought good people on the regional scene. He's like one of those names that you heard before he got to the UFC. You were aware of him as a fighter, or at least I was. That fight with Yusuf, he definitely had his moments. Like you said, that fight with Basharat, he had his moments. It seems like he's right on the cusp of like turning the corner. But he's got another tough ask in front of him. That's not an easy fight. It's a super tough fight. But I think he could get it done. I think he's talented enough. He's very well rounded. He has good jiu-jitsu, good wrestling, good striking. His cardio is good, and he's tough. I think Yusuf hurt him really bad to the body in their fight in the third round. He was able to kind of weather the storming and make it through that, which the body's the worst. Like, I'd rather get hit to the chin 10 out of 10 times than the body. So that just kind of shows his toughness. And he's the underdog here. Close fight. I think there's definitely some dog money to be had. I'll go with Blackshear just because I feel like he's been in there with tough competition. He's not going to see anything he hasn't seen before. He's not going to be overwhelmed. And that's a big part of it. So I think he'll turn the corner and maybe go on a little run here after this fight.
Okay. I like it. Joseph, what are you feeling?
Yeah, I think I agree just because like he said, he's fought tough guys and he's been right there, like on the edge of things with the competition that he just stepped up to competing against. I think that, like right now could be that moment that like before, like he could put it all together and it could be his time to shine. So yeah, I would go with Blackshear as well. This competition is no slouch and he could very well take this fight. But I got Blackshear.
Before we move on to this last fight, which will be the first one of the evening, guys, I got to ask, you talk about body shots. Do you remember the worst liver shot that either of you have taken, throughout your life so far?
Oh yeah. Anthony Smith. We had rounds, like not this last camp, but the fight before, or the fight even before that, because he wasn't with us for the Ankalaev fight. So the fight before that, it was the Ryan Spann fight. He teed me right in the liver so hard with wrestling shoes on. I thought my soul left my body, dude. I was gonna die right there. Oh, it was terrible. It was the worst.
With mine, it was actually against Jonathan Petit, the guy I beat on Dana White's looking for a fight. And that's kind of why I knew I was going to get kicked in the balls that fight, because he likes to do this spinning back kick off of like you trying to throw a two. Like it's just like always been his thing. You try and throw a 2 and he'll spin. And I remember he hit me in the liver back in the day when I was really young, and I didn't feel it right away. It was really like 3 seconds later. I remember thinking I was still fine and like trying to still fight, and then I'm just like, oh. But yeah, I'll never forget that. I'll never forget that.
Yeah, I've been hit in the liver once, and let me just say it is not a pleasurable feeling. So I can only imagine what it's like for you guys to have to experience that time and time again in the gym. We'll just leave it at there. You don't want to hear about my story. All right, Maxime Grisham and Luis Philippe Lins. Grisham's a favorite -130. Lins is the dog +111. Joseph, this is the 205 weight class. We could see one of these guys going out. Who do you see getting your hand raised here?
You know, I don't know Philip, but I bet I've seen Philip. But Grisham, he's a Russian cat, isn't he? That guy's stout, dude, and he's a problem. I like Grisham. I think he's very aggressive, and just kind of like scary. How he like, you know, he's really like, you know, looking at you, trying to come for you. I think Grisham wins it, but again, I don't know Philip or Felipe. And so I don't want to, you know, don't listen to me. I don't know anything.
What are you feeling, Cody? Do you have a favorite here? Do you feel like someone should get their hand raised?
Yeah, I think Grisham is criminally underrated. When he fought Dustin, he had a great fight, all kickboxing. Dustin's an amazing kickboxer. Dustin Jacoby, for those of you who don't know, top 15. And it was a really close fight. He hurt Dustin a few times. Dustin has a great chin. So I know he has good power. I know he's big. He's huge for the weight. You know, he got in there with William Knight, and William Knight's a giant dude and missed weight by 12 pounds in that fight and still was the bigger guy. So it's just and Lins isn't very active, right? Like, when was Lins's last fight? Had to be a while ago. I know he's fought at heavyweight, so he's not a small dude, but
yeah,
he hasn't fought in quite a while, I feel like.
Let me just double check on that. I think you're 100% accurate on that. Lins, well, he's 16-5. His last one was, well, no, he fought OSP in February, but prior to that, it was almost a year. He fought Marcin.
Didn't he have a bunch of he had a bunch of canceled fights, right?
Yeah, he had a couple. They were actually, these guys were scheduled to take on one another in October of last year. So he had 2 fights canceled before he beat OSP.
Okay. Yeah, and you know, that OSP win, if he did that 4 years ago, that would hold a lot more weight to me, just because, you know, OSP's been very clearly on the downhill. I just think Grisham gets it done. Like I said, I think he's a top 15 level talent. I just think he needs to put some more wins together, but I think he'll be there. I'm very fortunate I get to go with Dustin and see these guys that he's fighting and the level they're at, and that guy is one of the best that he's fought, and he's fought really good competition. He's in the top 15 now. So yeah, I think Grisham gets it done. I think he finds a way to finish Lins.
All right. I love it, Cody. You had some great analysis here today on the show. We really appreciated you coming on and breaking down these fights with us here today. Before we do sign off, any time frame you can give us as to when we might plan on seeing you back in the octagon?
I'm hoping late August, early September. I got baby number 2 is coming in July, so that'll give me a little bit of time to just find a rhythm with that and help my wife out as much as I can. I know she's gonna need the help. So yeah, but I talked to Jason. We're thinking probably late August, early September. Got a couple names in mind, but we'll see if they happen. I don't want to put them out there until maybe it happens.
Fair enough. Well, we can't wait to see you back in the octagon. And Joseph, we can't wait to see your journey back to the biggest promotion in the world, the UFC. We're sure you get back there soon, my man. Cody, thanks again for the time. Please come back and join us down the road, and we'll see you guys next week.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Have a good day, Cody. See you, Joseph.
Thanks.